Hi everyone. All right, here comes another graph. We're still talking about transformations, but this one is going to be reflected. So reflections, remember, it's like a mirror. It's like whatever line you're reflecting over is the mirror. So the object is actually going to flip. So this one we have, if you can read down here, it says pentagon ABCDE is shown on the coordinate plane. So here it is right here. Now I don't have the ABCDEFG or ABCDE, sorry, labeled. Remember, sometimes they're going to give you labels and sometimes they won't. Sometimes you're going to have to figure it out. Um, but if we wanted to label these, we could just label them A, B, and again, I'll show y'all how to do this on, this is the Desmos calculator that you can just use online. Okay, so now we have our labels. And what we're going to do, it says graph pentagon ABCDE reflected across the x-axis to create pentagon A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime, E prime. So what they're asking us to do is graph this A, B, C, D, E prime. Okay, so they want to reflect it across the x-axis. So the first thing we have to remember is what's the rule for reflecting stuff across the x-axis, right? So you can kind of think of it in your head. If I think in my head, I want to reflect this point across the x-axis, I can kind of think, okay, this is the x-axis, so it's going to be over here somewhere. They're all going to reflect over the x-axis somewhere. So we're going to look at that, but there's actually rules for each line and for each axis. So let's look at those real quick. Here they are. Okay, so a reflection is a type of transformation that creates a mirror image of the pre-image across a line of reflection. You learned how images are created across 4 different lines of reflection. So here we have across the x-axis, which is what they're wanting you to do. And when something reflects across the x-axis, the x's all stay the same and the y's become the opposite sign. So xy becomes x comma negative y. So that's what we're going to look at real quick. And here we have our x's and our y's. So when I create a new table here, I'm going to use those x's and y's, and I'm going to use my rule, and it's just automatically going to plug them in for me. If you're doing this on pen and paper, then obviously you're going to have to use your pen and paper to draw and plot out the lines. But for this one, so my first point here is 4, 7. I'm just reflecting across the x-axis, so I'm going to keep the x's the same. I'm just going to go ahead and put all of the x's in right here. And remember, I repeat the last point, the first point again at the end. That's just so that I can complete my shape on the calculator. So we know if it's going across the x-axis, the x's are going to be the same. Then if we want to go across the y-axis, we're going to make them all change signs. So here we see they're all positive, so I'm going to make them all negative. So I've got -7, the next one is 5, next one is 2. So I'm just putting a negative in front of all of them. And now I'm going to look over here, and as you can see, all of my points are plotted, and I can look and see, yeah, that makes sense that it's going across the x-axis. Now if I want to put my lines, I click and hold on these little dots here, and I put my, turn on the lines, and there we go, we have our lines. So if you wanted to label these points again, you could label them. So for -7 is now going to be A prime, right? So let's go ahead and put them. Now in this calculator, you're going to have to do them one at a time. Oops, sorry, for -7. And that is going to be A prime. Then we're going to do our B prime, so that's our second one. So that would be 1, -5. So let's go 1, -5, and we're going to label that B prime. And just to make it look nice, I'm going to change this to the same color as B up here, which is red. That way I'll have some consistency, especially if I'm turning it into a teacher as like myself. It'll be easier for her to read. Okay, so then we have our next point, which was 2, -2. And we're going to label that one 2, 2 was C, so this will be C prime. And let's make it the same as our C up there, so we're going to make it blue. And then D was 6, 2, so now it's 6, -2. And we're going to label that D prime. And of course, we're going to make sure it's the same color as the D up there, which is green. And then we have one more, which will be E. So we'll have 7, -5. And let's go ahead and label that E prime. And now all of our labels are complete, and our triangle has been reflected across the x-axis. This is the x-axis if you just want to, if you're not sure where it is, this is the x-axis right here in the middle. And then we're going to Shift Command 4 to take a little screenshot of this. Shift Command 4, we'll take a screenshot of it. Then we can move it wherever we want to. You heard that little click, it took a screenshot. So now I'm going back to, well, this is my whiteboard, but you're going to probably go back to Buzz or something to submit it. But if I wanted to draw on it some more, I'm going to take it to this whiteboard. I'm going to insert an image. When you take a screenshot, it should be either on your recents. Mine goes straight to the desktop. So they show up automatically. So it's going to be the one on the top is going to be the last one that I took. And I just put it in here. Now, if I wanted to, I could write on it some more. I could, you know, if you wanted to tell me more things, like this is the x-axis and this is what you went over, etc. You can do whatever you want and let me know what you did and how you got it. And then you just, you can also write, but you can submit these images directly into your Buzz. So it's super easy for me to read. I can just be like, yes, you got it right. That looks wonderful. And also, if it's nice and neat like this, you can see if you made a mistake, you're going to be able to see it. So you can go ahead and fix it before you turn it in. All right, so our next video will be across the y-axis. I'll do that one in a minute. And I will talk to y'all later. Have a great day.